So, Elijah, it's been a couple months since we last spoke with you. What has changed during that time?
Absolutely nothing in terms of my health. Or actually, you could say I gotten worse since the last time we spoke. But I still have no treatment options till this day for Duchenne muscular dystrophy, my disease.
How has your health declined?
Things are just getting harder. I'm losing more muscle as expected, and takes longer to transfer, less energy, things like that. And I mean, I have not done a heart checkup. But hopefully it's okay. But it could very likely have slipped, and that's very scary. So um, we'll see.
What kind of feedback have you received since you've been sharing these videos and your message?
Everybody's super supportive. I mean, the DMD community is very passionate about Demericel and wants to see it get approved now. I mean, we have nothing, and this is a deadly disease. And with the recent phase 3 data to go on top of these videos, we have even further evidence that this drug slows or even halts cardiomyopathy and DMD, and that's the number one cause of death. So to hear that there's a drug that could make you live longer, much longer, at least, and you're not able to access it. I mean, that's incredibly frustrating because there's nothing we can do. The other thing too is patients had a slower decline of their upper limb function, so again, they would be able to keep more of what they know they're losing for longer. So to be denied that, not to have access to it right now, is a real shame, and it's very frustrating. And the community wants to see it approved immediately.
How's your brother Kai doing?
He's doing okay. Certainly has like weakness that he didn't have let's say 4 months ago. And that again, that's to be expected. That's what happens with me, and that's what happens with other people with DMD. But he's still in good spirits and moving forward with things. But it could be better if he had access to this drug.
We've talked a lot about the toll that this waiting process has taken on all of the families involved. What does it mean for you when it comes to your mental and your physical health?
Well, I think it's like torturing a patient, right? And what I mean by that is you're torturing them mentally. We were expecting as a community to have this drug approved. We had a PDUFA date on August 31st of 2025. Everything looked good. We were excited about it, and we don't get the drug then. So then we're waiting for the phase 3 because that's what's requested. Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? Expect it to be good because that's what based off the phase 2, you would think it would extend to a larger population, and the data hit it out of the park. Statistical significance on both the primary and secondary endpoints. And so now you're just simply waiting on a review from the FDA to approve this drug and get it to patients immediately. I mean, it's frustrating. It's literally, again, it's not a scientific problem, as I said in the past, but it's a regulation problem that we have right now that's standing in front of us. They're obstructing access to patients with a horrific disease and a fatal disease, and their parents are defenseless. And parents, especially mothers, want to do everything they can to save their kids, to protect their kids, and they can't. They're disarmed. But if we got this drug approved, now they have a tool that can dramatically change their child's life. So it's very frustrating. It takes a lot on me mentally. Try not to think about it. Try not to count down the days, but you're going to because your life could get better if you just simply had access to a wonderful drug.
What message do you have for lawmakers? What message do you have for people at the FDA, people in power who have the ability to decide your fate ultimately?
My message to lawmakers and people in positions of power is simply to get this drug to patients immediately. This administration, which I agree with this point strongly, is to cut red tape, to cut down bureaucracy. And right now, it is the government that's actually standing in the way of saving patients' lives with DMD. If they cut the red tape, approve this drug, the whole entire disease changes, and what we understand about it, right? So I would ask them to review this quickly and to get this to patients immediately. And let's celebrate American greatness, let's celebrate American innovation, and lead the world as we typically do in medicine.
Why are these messages and these videos that you're creating so important for people to pay attention to?
They're so important because patients' lives are at risk, right? That we're not talking about, having a headache and here's a drug that can make your head not hurt. We're talking about dying and not dying, right? If I could be blunt, that's exactly what we're talking about. And so, you know, I believe that we have the opportunity to save the hearts of those with DMD, but also the hearts of those who love them, right? I'm talking about the families, I'm talking about the friends, I'm talking about the people around them, right? Because, going to a funeral, I've been to a few now, of a patient with DMD is tragic. This is a young person who has so much ahead of them. Typically, they're really positive people, they're optimistic, and yet they succumb to this horrific disease. I do not believe that has to be the case anymore if we simply got the drug to patients now. And it can't be later. And I want to explain why. If you look at the data, your left ventricular ejection fraction, basically how efficient the heart pumps blood. If we get you the drug before you're below 45% ejection fraction, we can stabilize the heart. If we get you below that, though, say we get you at 35% ejection fraction, we can maybe, slow the cardiomyopathy, slow it down, but we really can't stabilize like we can if we get you at 45% or above. So time truly is muscle here, especially for the heart. And so we really need to get this to patients immediately. We can't wait months.
Do you feel like the urgency has picked up since we last spoke?
I certainly think the urgency has picked up since we last spoke. And the reason why is because we have even more data now, right? We had an amazing study, best scientific rigor that you can do, being double-blinded, placebo-controlled, high-powered study, and it hit statistical significance in both the primary and secondary endpoints. So that's even more reason on top of the phase 2 durable, right? Because with the open label in the phase 2, we've seen that over 4 years that essentially patients have halted cardiomyopathy, in my opinion. I mean, they really haven't changed at all in terms of where they're at, so it's stable. We'll call it stable. And now to have the phase 3 done in such a well way, the urgency is through the roof. It's clear that this drug works and can make a big difference in patients' lives. So we need to get it to them.
What is your message to the FDA?
One of my messages, besides approving this drug immediately and saving patients' life with DMD, is simply if this doesn't stand out to you as an amazing drug, that it doesn't meet the threshold that you're looking for with therapies that you want to approve and get to patients now, my question is what does, right? And if you are slowing down or stabilizing cardiomyopathy in DMD, what is more clinically meaningful than saving someone's life? So I would just be really curious, and I'd pose that question to them. If that's not good enough, then I think the whole industry can quit, because what is going to be good enough for you?
Elijah, what is the holdup here and why has this process been so complicated?
Well, I think, to give the FDA credit, right, I think they want to approve drugs that truly work, right? They don't want people to just kind of cheat the system and get by. And I completely agree with that. As a patient, I want to have a drug that truly does work. But with Capricor, with Demarcel, we have a drug that truly does work. The data is conclusive, right? I think these patient stories and the patient experience is incredibly important. But if we just want to go off of data alone, we can. That's how powerful the data is. So when you put that together with the patient experience, with them experiencing this drug, with them showing their desire to live, and with having no medical options, it's a no-brainer to approve this drug immediately. It's literally the most simple decision I think the FDA can ever make.